Please tap like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now get comfortable and relax. My name is Daniel Harris. This happened last September in the Wasatch Mountains, and I need to write it down while I still remember who I was before we went there. My girlfriend Emma and I had been planning this trip for months. We'd saved up, bought a used RV, a 1998 Winnebago that leaked when it rained but was ours, and we'd mapped out a route through Utah. We both worked office jobs in Denver. Emma did data entry for an insurance company. I was in IT support. The kind of work where you look up one day and realize you've been staring at a screen for 6 hours straight. We needed this trip. That's what we kept telling ourselves. We left on a Thursday morning in mid-September. The drive from Denver to the Wasatch Mountains takes about 8 hours if you don't stop much. We did stop, though. Gas stations, a lunch spot in some town whose name I've already forgotten, a scenic overlook where Emma took photos of the landscape. She was always taking photos. Her phone was full of them. Thousands of pictures of trees and clouds, and me making faces at the camera. The RV camping site we'd booked was called Pinewood Rest. I'd found it on a camping website. The reviews were good. Quiet, one person wrote. Peaceful, said another. Felt like we had the whole mountain to ourselves. That sounded perfect. We arrived around 6 in the evening. The site was exactly as advertised, a clearing in the forest with designated RV spots, picnic tables, fire pits. There was a small office building near the entrance, but no one was inside. A handwritten sign on the door said, "Payment box by gate, 40 night, enjoy your stay." We were the only ones there. Emma thought that was great. I remember her standing outside the RV, arms spread wide, doing this little spin. "Look at this, Dan. It's perfect." It was perfect. The air smelled like pine. The late afternoon sun came through the trees in these long, golden shafts. I paid the fee, stuffed the cash in the payment box, and we set up in spot number 7. Not for any particular reason, it just seemed like a good spot. That first night was nice. We cooked hot dogs over the fire pit. Emma drank too much wine and got giggly. We stayed up late looking at the stars. She kept pointing out constellations she'd learned as a kid. I didn't know any of them, but I liked listening to her talk. Her voice got softer when she talked about things she cared about. We went to bed around midnight. The RV's bed was narrow, so we had to sleep close together. Emma fell asleep first. She always did. I lay there for a while, listening to the sounds outside. Wind in the trees, some kind of nightbird calling, the usual stuff. I fell asleep thinking about how we should do this more often. The next morning started normally. I woke up first, made coffee on the RV's tiny stove. Emma stumbled out of bed around 8, still half asleep, and took her cup outside. I followed her. That's when we saw the town. It was maybe a quarter mile from our campsite down a dirt road we hadn't noticed the night before. Not a big town, just a handful of buildings clustered together. A general store, what looked like a post office, a few houses. Old-fashioned architecture, the kind you see in historical photos from the 1950s. "Was that there yesterday?" Emma asked. I didn't answer right away because I was trying to remember. We'd driven in from the east. The road had been mostly trees and rocks. I would have noticed a town. I was sure I would have. "I don't think so," I said finally. Emma sipped her coffee. "Weird. Must have missed it in the dark." That made sense. We had arrived in the evening. The sun had been setting. Easy to miss things. "Want to check it out?" Emma asked. "Might have supplies. We forgot the marshmallows." We walked down the dirt road. It was a beautiful morning. Clear sky, cool temperature, the kind of day that makes you glad you're alive. The town was quiet. No cars on the street. No people visible through the windows. But the general store's door was open, and when we got closer, I could see someone standing behind the counter. A woman, middle-aged, wearing a floral print dress. She was looking at us, not moving, just looking. "Good morning," Emma called out. The woman didn't respond, didn't blink, just kept staring. We walked into the store. It smelled like old wood and something else I couldn't identify. something faintly sweet. "Hi," Emma said again. "We're camping up the road. Just wanted to see if you had marshmallows." The woman blinked then, a slow, deliberate blink, like she'd just remembered she was supposed to. "Marshmallows," the woman repeated. Her voice was flat. "Aisle 3. Emma glanced at me. I shrugged. Small-town people could be unfriendly sometimes. Maybe she didn't like tourists. We found the marshmallows, also grabbed some chips and a 6-pack of beer. When we brought them to the counter, the woman rang them up on an old-fashioned register, the kind with mechanical keys that made a loud ding with each press. $22, the woman said. I paid in cash. She handed me the change without looking at it. Her eyes stayed on my face the entire time. "Enjoy your stay," she said. We left. As we walked back down the dirt road, Emma whispered, "That was fucking weird." "Yeah," I agreed. "Did you notice she didn't blink?" "Like, not once while we were in there, except that one time." I had noticed. Maybe she has a condition or something. Maybe. We spent the rest of the morning at the campsite. Emma read a book. I tried to fix the leak in the RV's roof using some sealant I'd bought before the trip. It didn't work. The leak was worse, if anything. Around noon, we decided to go for a hike. There was a trail marked on the map we'd picked up at the office building, a 5-mile loop through the mountains. Easy terrain. The trail was well maintained. Someone had clearly put effort into keeping it clear of debris. We walked for about an hour, talking about nothing important. Work, her mom's upcoming birthday, whether we should adopt a cat. Then we heard the singing. It was coming from somewhere ahead of us on the trail. A woman's voice, high and clear, singing something that might have been a hymn. The melody was familiar, but I couldn't place it. "Someone else is here," Emma said. She sounded pleased. "Maybe we should catch up, say hi." We walked faster. The singing got louder. But no matter how fast we walked, we didn't seem to get any closer. The voice stayed at the same volume, the same distance ahead. After 20 minutes of this, Emma stopped. "This doesn't make sense," she said. "Maybe they're walking too," I suggested. "Same pace as us." "For 20 minutes? Without us getting any closer?" She had a point. We kept walking. The singing continued. After another 10 minutes, the trail curved to the right. And suddenly we were looking at the town again. The same town we'd visited that morning. "What the hell?" Emma said. I pulled out my phone, opened the map app. It showed us on the trail, exactly where we should be, but it also showed the town, marked as Pinewood Crossing. I zoomed out. The trail shouldn't have looped back this way. According to the map, we should still be deep in the forest. "Is the GPS glitching?" Emma asked, looking over my shoulder. "I don't know. Maybe." We heard footsteps behind us. We both turned. A man was walking up the trail. He was wearing jeans and a plaid shirt. He looked normal. Completely normal. Except when he got close enough for us to see his face, I realized he wasn't blinking either. "Beautiful day," the man said. His voice was pleasant, friendly. "Yeah," I managed. "Really nice." "Enjoy your stay," he said, and then he walked past us, continuing down the trail toward the town. Emma grabbed my arm. "Dan, what's going on?" "I don't know. This is wrong. Something is really wrong." I didn't argue because she was right. The town, the people, the way the trail had looped back, none of it made sense. "Let's go back to the RV," I said. We turned around and started walking. The trail stretched out behind us exactly as it should. Trees on both sides, the path winding through the forest. No town in sight. After about 30 minutes, we saw the RV through the trees. Relief flooded through me. "Thank God," Emma breathed. We practically ran the last 100 yards. Inside the RV, Emma locked the door. I know it was silly. We were in a campsite in the middle of nowhere. But neither of us said anything about it. We just sat there for a minute, not talking. Finally, Emma said, "I want to leave." "Okay, yeah, let's pack up." We moved quickly, throwing our stuff into bags without bothering to organize anything. The folding chairs, the cooler, the sleeping bags, everything got tossed into the RV's storage compartments. I got in the driver's seat, turned the key. The engine coughed but didn't turn over. I tried again. Same result. "What's wrong?" Emma asked. She was standing behind me, hands gripping the passenger seat. "I don't know. It started fine yesterday." I popped the hood, got out to look. I'm not a mechanic. I work in IT, but I could check the basics, battery connections, oil levels, everything looked fine. I got back in and tried the ignition again. This time nothing, not even a cough. The engine was completely dead. "Fuck," I said. Emma pulled out her phone. "I'll call for a tow truck." She dialed, held the phone to her ear, waited. "No signal," she said after a moment. "Dan, I have no signal." I checked my phone. Same thing. Full battery but 0 bars. "We had signal yesterday," Emma said. Her voice was rising. "We both did. I posted a photo to Instagram before we went to bed." I opened my photos, found the picture she'd taken at the scenic overlook on the way here. Tried to text it to my brother just to see if anything would go through. Message failed to send. "This isn't happening," and Emma said. "This can't be happening." We spent the next hour trying to figure out what to do. Emma wanted to hike back to the main road, flag down a passing car. I pointed out that we were 8 miles from the highway, and it had been a winding, isolated road with almost no traffic. "Then we walked to that town," she said. "There has to be a phone there, or someone with a working cell." I didn't want to go back to that town. Something about it felt wrong in a way I couldn't articulate. But Emma was right. We didn't have many options. We left the RV around 4 in the afternoon. The sun was still up, but it would start setting in a few hours. We walked quickly, neither of us talking much. The town appeared in the same place as before. Buildings clustered together, quiet streets, no visible movement. But as we got closer, I noticed people standing in the windows, just standing there, looking out. "Do you see that?" I whispered to Emma. "Yeah." There were 5 or 6 of them, all perfectly still, all facing our direction. We stopped walking. "Maybe this is a bad idea," I said. "We need help, Dan. The RV won't start. We have no phone signal. What else are we supposed to do?" She was right, but every instinct I had was screaming at me to turn around. We kept walking. When we reached the general store, the same woman was behind the counter. She looked at us with that same flat expression. "Back so soon," she said. Not a question, just a statement. "Our RV broke down," Emma explained. "We need to use a phone. Is there a landline we could—" "We don't have phones here," the woman said. Emma blinked. "What do you mean?" "There has to be a phone. What do you do in emergencies?" "We don't have emergencies." The way she said it made my skin crawl. "Look," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We just need help. Can someone give us a ride to the nearest town?" "We'll pay." The woman tilted her head slightly. It was the first time I'd seen her move anything except her eyes. "You're in the nearest town," she said. "No, I mean, a real town, with a police station, or a gas station with a phone. This is a real town." Her eyes hadn't left my face. "And you're welcome to stay." "We don't want to stay," Emma said. Her voice was shaking. "We want to leave. That's not possible." The door behind us opened. I turned. The man we'd seen on the trail was standing there. Behind him I could see more people. Lots more. They were filling the street, standing in rows, all facing the store, all staring at us, none of them blinking. "What the fuck?" Emma whispered. The woman behind the counter smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It didn't reach her eyes. "You'll adjust," she said. "Everyone does." I grabbed Emma's hand. "Run." We pushed past the man in the doorway and ran. The people in the street didn't move. They just watched us. It was somehow worse than if they'd chased us. We ran past houses, past the post office, past a small church with a white steeple. We didn't stop until we were back at the RV. Inside, we locked the door again. Emma was crying. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. "We need to get out of here," Emma said. "We need to get out now." "How?" "The RV won't start." "Then we walk. We walk to the highway. I don't care how far it is." I checked the time. It was 5:30. We had maybe 2 hours of daylight left. "Okay," I said. "Let's get our stuff together. Take only what we need." We packed 2 backpacks, water bottles, granola bars, the flashlight, extra batteries, a first aid kit. Emma wanted to bring her laptop. I told her to leave it. We needed to travel light. We left the RV at 6 o'clock. The dirt road stretched out ahead of us. It should have led back to the main entrance, back to the paved road we'd driven in on. We'd only been driving for maybe 5 minutes when we first arrived. Walking, it should take 20 minutes, 30 at most. We walked for an hour. The road kept going. Trees on both sides, the same trees we'd been seeing all day, the same kind of rocks, the same everything. "This is wrong," Emma said. "We should have reached the entrance by now." "I know." We kept walking. The sun was setting. The light filtering through the trees turned orange, then red, then purple. I turned on the flashlight. After another 30 minutes, we saw lights ahead. "Is that the road?" Emma asked. She sounded hopeful. We walked faster. The lights got brighter. It was the town. We'd somehow circled back to the same goddamn town. Emma made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. No, that's not possible. We walked in a straight line. We didn't turn around." "I know." "Then how?" "I don't know, Emma, I don't fucking know." We stood there in the dark, looking at the lit windows of the town. I could see people moving inside the buildings now. Shadows passing back and forth. "What do we do?" Emma's voice was small. "We try again. Maybe we made a wrong turn somehow." "We walked on the road, Dan. There were no turns. Then we go through the forest, we navigate by the stars or something." "The stars?" She laughed, and it sounded unhinged. "You don't know any constellations. I'm the one who knows constellations, and I'm telling you that doesn't make any sense." "Well, what else are we supposed to do, stay here?" She didn't answer. We walked back into the forest, staying off the road this time. I had my phone's compass app open, making sure we were heading east. That's where the highway was, due east. We walked for 2 hours. When we stopped to rest, Emma pulled out her phone to check the time. "Dan," she said, "look at this." Her phone's clock read 6:00 p.m. "That can't be right," I said. "We've been walking for 2 hours at least." I checked my phone. Also 6:00 p.m. I checked my watch. The little hand pointed to 6. The big hand pointed to 12. Emma started crying again. We made it back to the RV sometime after midnight, or what felt like midnight. Our phone still said 6:00 p.m. My watch had stopped completely. We didn't talk about what it meant. We were too tired and too scared. Inside the RV, Emma lay down on the bed without taking off her shoes. I sat at the small table staring at the map on my phone. The little blue dot showed us at Pinewood Rest. The town, Pinewood Crossing, was marked about a quarter mile away. I zoomed out. In every direction the forest stretched on. No highways, no other towns, just trees and mountains and more trees. I zoomed out further. The map started to pixelate. Large gray squares appeared where roads and landmarks should be. I kept zooming out until the whole screen was gray except for one small spot of color right in the center. Pinewood Rest. Pinewood Crossing. Us. I closed the app. Opened it again. Same thing. "Emma," I said, "I think we should get some sleep. We'll figure this out in the morning." She didn't respond. I thought maybe she'd already fallen asleep, but then I heard her voice muffled by the pillow. "I want to go home, Dan." "I know. Me too." "I'm scared." "I know." I lay down next to her. She was still crying quietly. I put my arm around her. We stayed like that for a long time. I didn't think I'd be able to sleep, but eventually I did. I dreamed about the woman in the general store. She was standing behind the counter and I was trying to buy something, but I couldn't remember what. She kept asking me questions in that flat voice. "What's your name?" Where are you from? How long are you staying? I couldn't answer any of them. When I woke up, Emma was gone. I sat up so fast I hit my head on the RV's low ceiling. Emma? No response. I checked the tiny bathroom. Empty. I looked out the windows. The sun was up. It looked like mid-morning, though my phone still stubbornly insisted it was 6:00 p.m. Emma's backpack was gone. So were her shoes. The RV door was hanging open. I pulled on my shoes and climbed out. Called her name again. My voice echoed through the empty campsite. There were footprints in the dirt leading away from the RV. Small prints. Emma's size. They led toward the town. Fuck, I said out loud. Emma, what did you do? I grabbed my backpack and followed the prints. They were easy to track at first. The dirt road was dusty, and her footprints showed clearly. But as I got closer to the town, they started to fade. By the time I reached the first building, they'd disappeared entirely. The town was different in the daylight. More real. Somehow. I could see details I'd missed before. Flower boxes under windows, a cat sitting on a porch railing, a bicycle leaning against a fence. It looked normal. That's what was so wrong about it. It looked completely, perfectly normal. Emma, I shouted. A door opened. The woman from the general store stepped out. She was wearing the same floral dress. Your friend is inside, she said. Where? She pointed at the church. I ran. The church doors were heavy wood, but they swung open easily. Inside it was dim and cool. There were rows of pews, a simple altar at the front. And sitting in the front pew, facing away from me, was Emma. Emma, I said. Thank God. Are you okay? Why did you leave? She didn't turn around. I walked down the aisle, my footsteps echoing. Emma. When I reached her, I put my hand on her shoulder. She turned to look at me. She was smiling. That same smile the woman in the store had given us. The one that didn't reach her eyes. Hello, Dan, she said. What's wrong? Are you hurt? I'm fine. Better than fine. I understand now. Understand what? We can't leave, she said, still smiling. But that's okay. It's nice here. We can stay, forever, if we want. Emma, we need to go. Something is wrong with this place, can't you see that? Nothing is wrong. She reached out and took my hand. Her skin was cold. They explained everything to me. We're supposed to be here. This is where we belong. Who explained, Emma? You're not making sense. The others, they're kind, they understand. She stood up, still holding my hand. Come on, I'll introduce you. I'm not meeting anyone, we're leaving. Right now. We can't leave, Dan, I tried to tell you. She wasn't smiling anymore. Her face had gone blank, flat, like the woman in the store. This is where we stay. I pulled my hand away. You're not Emma. Yes, I am. No. Something happened to you. Something. Nothing happened to me. I just understand now, and soon you will too. She reached for me again. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Dan, please, don't be difficult. The way she said it, so calm, so emotionless, made my stomach turn. I ran. Back down the aisle, out through the heavy doors, into the bright daylight. People were gathering in the street again. Lots of them. More than I'd seen before. They all turned to look at me. Emma walked out of the church behind me. He's not ready yet, she called out. Give him time. The people nodded in unison. Then they went back to whatever they'd been doing. Walking, standing, staring at nothing. I ran back to the RV. I've been sitting here for 3 hours, writing this down, trying to make sense of what's happening. Emma came back once. She knocked on the door, called my name. I didn't answer. I'll wait, she said through the door. I'm patient. I heard her footsteps walking away. It's getting dark now. My phone still says 6:00 p.m. My watch is still frozen, but I can see the sun setting through the window. I've tried the RV engine again, dead. I've tried walking out of here again in every direction. I always end up back at the campsite or at the town. I've tried to understand the map on my phone, but it keeps showing the same thing. Gray squares in every direction except for the small patch of color where we are, where we're stuck. I don't know what happened to Emma. I don't know if she's still in there somewhere, still my Emma, or if whatever this place is took her and replaced her with something else. I don't know if I'm next. What I do know is that I'm still in the RV, and the sun has fully set now, and there are people walking past outside. I can see their shadows moving past the windows. They're not coming in, not yet. Emma is out there somewhere. Emma, or what's left of her. The town is out there too. Pinewood Crossing. The town that appeared overnight. And I'm starting to think that maybe the town didn't appear. Maybe we're the ones who appeared. Maybe that's what happens here. People drive in, camp for the night, and when they wake up, they're in a different place. A place that looks like the Wasatch Mountains but isn't. A place that looks like Utah but exists somewhere else entirely. A place where time stops at 6:00 p.m. and towns appear overnight and people don't blink. There's a knock at the door. Dan? Emma's voice. I know you're scared, but it's going to be okay. Just open the door. I'm not going to open the door. I'm going to sit here and write this down and hope that somehow someone finds it. Someone who's still in the real world, the real Wasatch Mountains, where RVs start and phones have signals and towns don't appear overnight. Another knock. Harder this time. Dan, please, don't make this difficult. I'm thinking about that family who was supposed to be here before us. The ones who wrote the review about how peaceful it was. How it felt like they had the whole mountain to themselves. I wonder if they're still here. I wonder if they're standing outside right now knocking on my door. The knocking is getting louder. Dan, I'm coming in now. The door handle is turning. I didn't lock it when I came back. I was too panicked, too scared. The door is opening. Emma is standing there. She's smiling again. Behind her I can see the others. Dozens of them, standing in neat rows, all facing the RV, all staring at me, none of them blinking. It's time, Emma says. Everyone is waiting. I don't want to go. I don't want to become like them. I don't want to stand in the street with that empty expression, not blinking, not thinking, not being myself anymore. But Emma is reaching for my hand, and I'm starting to think that maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is where we belong. Maybe, no, I have to fight it. I have to remember who I am. My name is Daniel Harris. I'm from Denver. I work in IT. I love Emma. The real Emma. The one who drinks too much wine and laughs at her own jokes and takes thousands of photos of trees. I have to remember. But it's getting harder. Emma's hand is so cold, and the others are waiting. And maybe, just maybe, it would be easier to stop fighting, to just let go, to just... The RV door is closing behind me. I'm walking with them now, down the dirt road, toward the lights of the town. Emma is holding my hand. I'm trying to remember why I was scared. I'm trying to remember what time it is. My phone says 6:00 p.m. It's always 6:00 p.m. here. That's okay, that's fine. We reach the town. The others are waiting. They smile at me. Not with their eyes, but I understand now that eyes don't matter. Understanding matters. Belonging matters. Someone is leading me to a house. A small house with blue shutters. They tell me this is where I live now. This is where I've always lived. I believe them. Emma is beside me. We walk inside together. There's a couch, a table, a kitchen. It looks like a home. It is a home. My home. I sit down on the couch. Emma sits next to me. We hold hands. We don't talk. There's nothing to say. Outside I can hear footsteps, other people, walking, living their lives, lives that never change, lives that exist at exactly 6:00 p.m. forever. I close my eyes. When I open them again, I don't blink. I never blink anymore. None of us do. The document ends here. It was found in an abandoned RV at Pinewood Rest Camping Site in the Wasatch Mountains. The RV was registered to a Daniel Harris of Denver, Colorado. No trace of Harris or his companion, Emma, has been found. The RV's battery was dead, and the interior showed signs of recent habitation: food wrappers, empty water bottles, sleeping bags. There was no town named Pinewood Crossing on any map of the area. Investigators noted that Harris's phone was found on the RV's table, frozen on a map app displaying a time of 6:00 p.m. The phone's battery was at 87%. GPS data showed the device had not moved from the campsite in the 4 days since Harris and his companion checked in. Park rangers report that no other campers have seen or heard from them. My name is Madison Lewis. This happened last September in Arkansas, and I'm writing this because I need to get it straight in my head. I keep going over it, trying to figure out where things went wrong, or if they were wrong from the start. We were a group of 5 from the marketing firm where I work in Little Rock. The trip was Brad's idea. Our department head thought a team-building weekend would help after the merger. We'd been working together for 3 years, but half the company had been laid off in August, and the ones left were walking on eggshells. Brad thought getting out of the city would help. He'd found this RV park near Devil's Den State Park, said it would be cheap and easy. The group was me, Brad, Jenna from accounts, Marcus, who handled our digital stuff, and Corey from the design team. We weren't exactly friends, but we got along. We rented 2 RVs. The guys took one, Jenna and I took the other. Brad made a whole itinerary: hiking, campfires, some kind of trust-building exercises he'd found online. We all made jokes about it being corporate camp, but honestly, I think we were all relieved to have a break. We drove down on Friday afternoon. The RV park was called Clearwater Ridge, about 40 minutes outside Devil's Den proper. The woman at the office was maybe 70, thin and quiet. She barely looked at us while checking us in. "Y'all staying both nights?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," Brad said, doing his friendly Southern thing even though he was from Ohio. "Hoping to do some hiking tomorrow." She handed him the keys and a map of the campground. "Sites 12 and 13 are yours. Bathrooms are by the main road." "Any good trails you'd recommend?" Brad asked. She paused, then pointed at the map. "State parks got marked trails. Stick to those." "We heard there's some interesting areas off the main park," Marcus said. He'd been researching the area all week, kept sending links to the group chat. "Someone mentioned a valley called Miller's Holler." The woman's face didn't change, but something happened in the room. I can't explain it better than that. The air felt different. "Don't know anything about that," she said. "Is it private property or something?" Marcus pressed. "We don't want to trespass." "I don't know anything about it," she repeated. "Y'all have a nice stay." She went into the back office before anyone could ask anything else. We drove our RVs to the sites. The campground was half empty, just us, a family with small kids on the other side, and an older couple in a fifth wheel near the entrance. The sites were decent, each with a picnic table and fire ring. Trees on all sides, thick enough that you couldn't see the road. We spent that evening setting up and making dinner. Brad grilled burgers, Jenna made a salad, and Corey brought beer from this craft brewery he liked. It was actually nice. We sat around the fire and talked about work, but not in the stressed way we usually did. Marcus pulled out his phone and showed us what he'd found about Miller's Holler. "It's mentioned in a few forum air," he said. "Hikers talking about this valley that's not on any official maps. Some of them say it's got old homesteads, like from before the area was designated as parkland. There's this whole community that used to be there in the 1800s. "Why isn't it on the maps?" Jenna asked. "I don't know. Maybe it's protected somehow. But people have been there. There are photos." He scrolled through his phone. The pictures were dark, taken in heavy shade. Trees, some old stone foundations, what looked like the remains of a fence. "The woman at the office seemed weird about it," I said. "She seemed weird about everything," Corey said. "Probably just sick of tourists. Should we try to find it tomorrow?" Marcus asked. "I've got GPS coordinates from one of the forums." Brad shrugged. "I mean, if we're not going to get arrested." "It's national forest land," Marcus said. "It's public." We agreed to hike out there in the morning. I remember feeling excited about it, like we were doing something adventurous instead of just following the tourist trails. That's the thing I keep thinking about. We all agreed. We wanted to go. We turned in around 11. Jenna and I stayed up talking for a while in our RV. She'd just gotten divorced and was still processing it. Her ex-husband had cheated with someone from his gym. She kept saying she should have known that there were signs. I told her what you're supposed to tell people, that it wasn't her fault, that he was an idiot. But I kept thinking about my own relationship, which had ended 6 months earlier for different reasons, and wondering if we ever really know anything about anyone. Around midnight, I heard something outside. Footsteps on gravel, moving past our RV toward the tree line. I looked out the window but couldn't see anything. It was probably just someone going to the bathroom, but the footsteps seemed wrong somehow. Too slow, too deliberate. They stopped right at the edge of the trees and I waited for them to come back, but they didn't. I didn't mention it to Jenna. She'd already fallen asleep. Saturday morning was overcast but warm. We had breakfast, packed day bags with water and snacks, and headed out around 9. Marcus had loaded the GPS coordinates, and his phone showed Miller's Holler was about 6 miles from the RV park, most of it off trail. The first part was easy. We took a marked trail that wound through the forest, passing a few other hikers. Everyone was friendly, saying good morning, commenting on the weather. After about 2 miles, Marcus said we needed to go off trail heading southwest. "Are we sure about this?" Jenna asked. She'd worn the wrong shoes, canvas sneakers instead of hiking boots, and was already complaining about blisters. "We can turn back any time," Brad said. "Let's just see how far we get." The forest got thicker once we left the trail. Not in a dramatic way, just gradually denser. The trees were mostly oak and pine with heavy undergrowth. We had to watch our footing. It was slow going. After about 40 minutes of that, Corey stopped. "Anyone else notice it's really quiet?" He was right. I hadn't heard a bird in at least 10 minutes. No insects, no rustling, just the sound of us walking. "Maybe we're spooking them," Brad said. "That's not how birds work," Corey said. He was an amateur birder, always pointing out species on his lunch breaks back in the office. We kept going. Marcus's phone said we were getting close, maybe half a mile left. The trees started changing. They looked older, thicker. Some of them had strange marks on the bark, like someone had cut deep grooves in deliberate patterns. Not letters or symbols, just lines. "Those are weird," Jenna said, running her fingers over one. The cut was old, the bark growing around it. "Probably trail markers from a long time ago," Marcus said. But he took a picture. The land started sloping down, and we realized we were entering a valley. The GPS said we were at the coordinates. The trees opened up into a clearing maybe 100 yards across. There were definitely old structures there. Stone foundations, the remains of a chimney, some fence posts. Everything was covered in moss and vines, but you could see the shapes underneath. "This is it," Marcus said, grinning. "Miller's Holler." We spread out, exploring. Brad found what looked like it had been a well, now just a circular pile of stones. Jenna discovered part of a rusted wagon wheel. I walked over to the largest foundation and tried to picture what the building had been. A house, probably. Maybe a store. Corey was standing at the far end of the clearing, looking into the trees. "There's more back here." We followed him. Past the main clearing, deeper into the valley, there were more ruins. A lot more. Dozens of foundations, all covered in growth. It had been a real settlement, bigger than we'd expected. "Why would they abandon all this?" Jenna asked. "People left rural areas all the time," Marcus said. "Economic opportunities in the cities, farms failing, who knows?" "But why isn't this on the maps?" I asked. "This seems like it should be a historical site or something." Nobody had an answer for that. We spent maybe an hour there taking pictures, looking through the ruins. It felt strange but not scary. Just sad, I guess. All these people who'd built lives here, and now there was nothing left but rocks and rust. Then Marcus called us over. He was standing at the edge of the settlement, where the valley narrowed into what looked like a gorge. "You guys need to see this." We walked over. The gorge was deep, maybe 30 feet, with steep sides. At the bottom was a creek, and next to the creek was a structure, not a ruin, an actual structure with walls and a roof. It looked like a cabin made from dark wood. There was even a door. "Someone's living there," Jenna said. "Can't be," Corey said. "It's in the middle of nowhere." Brad cupped his hands and yelled, "Hello!" His voice echoed off the gorge walls. No one answered. "Should we go down there?" Marcus asked. I didn't want to. Something about the cabin felt wrong, though I couldn't articulate why. It was just a cabin, but it was too well maintained for a place that was supposed to be abandoned. The wood looked relatively new, or at least cared for. "I don't think we should," I said. "What if someone does live there? We'd be trespassing." "It's public land," Marcus said again. "Then why did that woman at the office pretend she didn't know about this place?" I asked. That made everyone pause. "We came all this way," Corey said. "At least let's get closer, see if anyone's actually there." We found a place where the gorge wall was less steep and carefully climbed down. The rocks were loose and Jenna almost fell at one point. Brad caught her arm. At the bottom, the creek was shallow, barely covering the rocks. We crossed it easily. Up close, the cabin looked newer than I'd thought. The wood wasn't weathered. There were no broken windows, no sagging roof. The door had a proper latch. Next to the door was a window with curtains, actual curtains, pale yellow ones. "Hello?" Brad called again, knocking on the door. Nothing. He tried the latch. The door was locked. "Okay, so someone definitely uses this," Jenna said. "We should go." Marcus walked around to the back. We heard him say, "Oh shit." We followed. Behind the cabin was a small clearing, and in that clearing were, I don't even know what to call them, figures made from sticks and bones lashed together with what looked like leather cord. They were arranged in a circle around a burned patch of ground. Each figure was maybe 3 feet tall, vaguely human-shaped. Some of them had skulls for heads. Animal skulls, I think. Rabbits or possums. "What the hell is this?" Jenna whispered. "Art?" Corey suggested, but he sounded uncertain. "We need to leave, I said. "Right now." Nobody argued. We climbed back up the gorge wall, faster this time, not caring about the loose rocks, and headed back through the settlement. The whole time I felt like we were being watched. I kept looking at the tree line, expecting to see someone standing there. But there was no one. We didn't talk much on the hike back. Everyone was moving faster, like we all wanted to put distance between us and that valley. When we finally hit the marked trail again, I felt myself relax slightly. "That was weird," Marcus said. "Those stick things were probably just some kind of folk art," Brad said. "You know, like people make yard decorations out of whatever." "In the middle of the woods," Jenna said. "Locked in a cabin no one's supposed to know about?" "Maybe it's an artist's retreat," Brad said. "They want privacy." I wanted to believe that, but I didn't. Something about those figures, the way they were arranged, the burned ground in the center, it felt intentional in a way that wasn't about art. We got back to the RV park around 4. We were all tired, hungry, and unsettled. Brad suggested we order pizza from a place in town and no one wanted to cook, so we called in an order. While we waited, I walked over to the main office. The same woman was there reading a paperback behind the counter. She looked up when I came in. "Can I help you?" "We went hiking today," I said. "Found that place Miller's Holler." She stared at me. "I told your friend I don't know about that." "There's someone living there," I said, "in a cabin in the gorge. Do you know who that is?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "There was this cabin. I think you need to leave my office," she said, standing up. "I told you people to stick to the marked trails." "We didn't do anything wrong," I said. "We just go back to your site." I left. My hands were shaking, though I wasn't sure if it was from anger or something else. She knew about the holler. She absolutely knew, and she didn't want us there. The pizza arrived and we ate it sitting around the fire. The family with kids had left earlier in the day. The older couple was still there, but their lights were off. We were basically alone in the campground. That woman was so rude to Madison, Jenna said. What's her problem? Maybe she's just protective of the area, Brad said. Some locals get weird about outsiders. Or maybe there's actually something wrong with that place, I said. Like what? Marcus asked. You think it's haunted? I think there's a reason she didn't want to talk about it. Madison's right, Corey said. The whole thing was off. The cabin, those stick figures, the way no birds would go near there. Birds? Brad laughed. Come on. We're being paranoid. You didn't think those stick things were weird? Jenna asked. They were weird, Brad admitted. But weird doesn't mean dangerous. It just means weird. We stayed up later than the night before, drinking and talking. Around midnight, we heard something. It was distant but clear. Voices. Singing, maybe. It was hard to tell. That's coming from the woods, Marcus said. We all went quiet, listening. The sound faded in and out like whoever was making it was moving around. It definitely wasn't coming from the other RV in the park. It was deeper in the forest. Probably just campers, Brad said. But there weren't supposed to be campers back there. It wasn't a camping area. The singing stopped abruptly like someone had closed a door. We waited, but it didn't start again. I'm going to bed, Jenna announced. She looked pale. I followed her into our RV. Neither of us said anything, but I could tell she was as freaked out as I was. I locked the door, which felt ridiculous. We were in an RV park, not a horror movie. But I locked it anyway. I didn't sleep well. Every sound outside seemed amplified, branches scraping the RV roof, something moving through the gravel. At one point, I could have sworn I heard that singing again, much closer. I got up and looked out the window. The campsite was empty, just the dying embers of our fire and the dark shapes of the trees beyond. But then I saw it. A figure standing at the tree line, barely visible in the darkness. Just standing there, facing our RV. I watched for maybe 30 seconds. The figure didn't move. I couldn't make out any details. It was too dark and they were too far away. But they were definitely there, and they were definitely watching. Then they stepped backward into the trees and disappeared. I went back to bed but didn't close my eyes. I heard Jenna's breathing, slow and steady. She was asleep. I didn't wake her. What would I have said? Someone was standing in the woods? That could have been anyone. A late-night hiker. Someone from the campground. But I knew it wasn't. Sunday morning felt different. Wrong. It's hard to explain. The air felt heavier. The light looked strange, too gray for mid-morning. When Jenna and I went outside, the guys were already up, standing around their RV looking confused. Did you guys touch our stuff? Brad asked. What? No, I said. He pointed. Their picnic table, which had been next to their RV, was now in the middle of the site. Not dragged. The legs were pressed evenly into the gravel like someone had lifted it and placed it there carefully. On the table was our cooler, which had been locked in our RV. When did this happen? Jenna asked. No idea, Marcus said. We just woke up and found it like this. I checked our RV door. Still locked. How did someone get our cooler? No one had an answer. We stood there staring at the table like it would explain itself. The cooler was just sitting there, unopened. Nothing was missing from inside. This isn't funny, Jenna said, looking at the guys. Did you do this as a prank? Why would we do that? Corey said. And how would we get into your RV? Maybe we didn't lock it, I said, though I knew I had. Someone's messing with us, Marcus said. The old couple? Brad suggested. We walked over to their site. The fifth wheel was dark, curtains drawn. Brad knocked on the door. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Hello? Anyone here? Nothing. Maybe they left early, Jenna said. But their truck was still there, attached to the fifth wheel. And when I looked closer, I saw that the RV's stairs were pulled up, the kind you fold down when you're parked, like they'd never come out. That's weird, Corey said. Brad tried the door. Locked. Okay, this is officially creepy. Marcus said. Someone moved our furniture in the middle of the night and the only other people here are hiding in their RV. We should leave, I said. We paid for 2 nights, Brad said. I don't care. We should leave. Let's just pack up and go, Jenna agreed. This whole trip has been weird. We went back to our sites and started breaking camp. It took about an hour. While we were working, I kept looking at the tree line, expecting to see someone watching. But there was nothing. The woods were absolutely still. No wind, no birds, not even insects. We were almost done when Marcus said, "Where's Corey?" We all stopped. I looked around. No Corey. "He was just here," Brad said, "like 5 minutes ago." "Corey!" Marcus yelled. No response. "Maybe he went to the bathroom," Jenna said. We walked over to the bathroom building. Empty. We checked both RVs. Not there. We spread out, searching the campground, calling his name. Nothing. "This isn't funny, Corey," Brad shouted. "We need to get going." The forest swallowed his voice. No echo. No response. Just silence. "His phone," I said. "Call his phone." Marcus pulled out his cell. No signal. He walked around, trying to find service. "I can't get anything. This worked yesterday." "Mine's the same," Jenna said, checking hers. We looked at each other. The weight of the situation was settling in. Our coworker had vanished. We had no phone service. We were alone in a campground where someone had been messing with us overnight. "The office," Brad said. "They'll have a landline." We ran to the main office. The door was locked, the lights off. Through the window I could see the desk, the chair, the paperback still lying open. But no one was there. "Hello?" Brad pounded on the door. "We need help. Someone's missing." No response. "Break the window," Marcus said. "What?" "Break the window. This is an emergency." Brad hesitated, then picked up a rock from the landscaping and threw it through the glass. The sound was shockingly loud. We waited for someone to come running, yelling at us, but no one did. Brad reached through and unlocked the door. We went inside. The office looked normal. Desk, filing cabinets, the smell of old coffee. There was a phone on the wall. Brad picked it up. No dial tone. "Check the back," I said. Marcus pushed through the door behind the counter. I heard him open doors, call out. He came back shaking his head. "Nobody's here. There's a small apartment back there, but it's empty. Looks like no one's been there in a while." "That's impossible," Jenna said. "The woman was here yesterday, but the evidence was clear. The apartment hadn't been used recently. Dust on the furniture, no food in the refrigerator, the bed stripped down to the mattress." "We need to get to the road," I said. "Flag down a car, get help." We left the office and headed for the main road. It was maybe a quarter mile from our sites. But when we got there, something was wrong. The road was blocked. Trees had fallen across it, big ones, creating an impassable barrier in both directions. "Did we hear those fall?" Marcus asked. We hadn't. The trees looked like they'd been down for a while, moss on the bark, leaves decaying underneath. But that was impossible. We'd driven in on that road 2 days ago. "This doesn't make sense," Brad said. His voice was shaking. "None of this makes sense." "We need to find Corey," I said. "And then we need to get out of here. We'll drive the RVs through the woods if we have to." We went back to the campground. Both RVs were still there, parked and ready to go. But when Brad tried to start his, nothing happened. The engine didn't even turn over. Marcus tried mine. Same thing. Dead battery, maybe. But both of them, at the same time. "Someone did this," Marcus said. "Someone sabotaged them." "Who?" Jenna demanded. "There's no one here." "We don't know that," and I said, "We haven't checked everywhere." But we were all thinking the same thing. The singing last night, the figure at the tree line, the moved furniture, the impossible blocked road. This wasn't random. Someone wanted us here. "Let's think logically," Brad said, trying to sound calm. "Corey probably went for a walk and got turned around. We find him, then we figure out the RV situation. Maybe there's something simple, like a kill switch someone activated." Why would someone do that? Jenna asked. Brad didn't have an answer. We split up to search for Corey, agreeing to meet back at the sites in 30 minutes. Jenna and I went toward the hiking trail we'd used yesterday. Marcus and Brad checked the area near the lake. I didn't want to split up, but there was ground to cover. The trail looked different in the gray light. The trees seemed to lean in closer. Jenna stayed right behind me, so close I could hear her breathing. This is insane, she said. What's happening? I don't know. That woman at the office, she knew. She knew something bad would happen if we went to that place. Maybe. Not maybe. Madison. She definitely knew. And we ignored her. We walked for about 15 minutes, calling Corey's name every few yards. Nothing. We were about to turn back when we heard it. Singing. The same singing from last night, but clearer now. Multiple voices, harmonizing. The melody was strange. Not quite right. Like it was in a different key or using notes that didn't exist on a normal scale. Where's that coming from? Jenna whispered. I couldn't tell. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. We stood still, listening. The singing got louder, then softer, then louder again. It was moving around us. We should go back, I said. We turned around and started walking quickly back toward camp. The singing followed us, not behind us. It was keeping pace, moving through the trees parallel to the trail. I never saw who was singing, just heard them. When we got back to the campsite, the guys were already there. They looked terrified. Did you hear that? Marcus asked. We nodded. We heard it too, Brad said. Coming from the woods near the lake, we tried to find who it was, but... He stopped. But what? I asked. We saw them, Marcus said quietly. Just for a second. People in the trees, watching us. How many? I don't know. 5? 6? They were just standing there, not moving. When we tried to get closer, they backed into the brush. Did you see their faces? Jenna asked. No, too far away, but they were definitely human. We stood in a circle in the middle of the campsite. The singing had stopped. The woods were silent again. Okay, Brad said. New plan. We walk out, follow the road even if it's blocked. We can climb over the trees. Someone will eventually come by or we'll reach town. It was a solid plan. But when we started walking toward the road, something happened. I can't explain it rationally. The distance seemed wrong. We'd walked for maybe 3 minutes when Marcus said, "We're back." And we were. Standing in our campsite like we'd walked in a circle. That's not possible, Jenna said. We tried again. This time we paid attention to landmarks, a distinctive tree, a rock formation. We walked in a straight line toward the road. 10 minutes of walking. When we looked up, we were at our campsite again. What the hell is happening? Marcus shouted. Brad sat down on the picnic table. This isn't real. This can't be real. We're being herded, I said. Someone's making us stay here. How? Jenna demanded. How is someone doing this? I didn't know. But I knew we needed to stay together. And I knew with absolute certainty that we were not alone. That's when Corey walked out of the woods. He looked normal. Same clothes, same face, same walk. He was smiling. There you guys are, he said. I've been looking everywhere. We stared at him. Where the hell have you been? Marcus finally said. Just went for a walk. What's wrong? What's wrong? Brad stood up. You disappeared for 2 hours. We've been searching everywhere. The RVs won't start. The road is blocked and... He stopped. Why are you smiling? Corey's smile didn't waver. Am I? Yes, I said. Where did you go? I told you for a walk. A walk where? Just around. Something was very wrong. Corey wasn't blinking. He was standing too still, like he was holding a pose, and his smile, it was too wide, too fixed. Corey, Jenna said carefully. Are you okay? I'm great, he said. Why wouldn't I be? You're acting weird, Marcus said. Am I? That was the second time he'd answered a question with a question, and his voice sounded slightly off, like he was imitating himself. "What did you see on your walk?" I asked. Corey looked at me, really looked at me, and I felt my stomach drop. His eyes were wrong. The color was right, the shape was right, but there was something behind them that wasn't Corey. "I saw lots of things," and he said. "I saw trees, I saw birds, I saw you." "What do you mean you saw me?" "All of you. I saw all of you." "When?" "Always." Jenna grabbed my arm. "Madison, we need to go." "Where?" Corey asked. "There's nowhere to go." "Stay away from us," Brad said, putting himself between Corey and the rest of us. Corey laughed. It was the worst sound I've ever heard. It sounded like Corey's laugh, but underneath it was something else, like multiple voices laughing at once. "You can't leave," Corey said. "They won't let you." "Who won't let us?" Marcus demanded. "The ones who live here, the ones you disturbed." "We didn't disturb anyone," I said. "We just went hiking." "You went to the holler," Corey said, and his smile got wider. "You went where you weren't supposed to go. You saw their place, now you have to stay." "That's insane," Brad said. "Is it?" Corey tilted his head at an unnatural angle. "You can't start your vehicles. You can't leave the campground. You can't even walk in a straight line. How is that insane? That's just how it is now." Then he turned and walked back into the woods. We watched him disappear into the trees, moving too smoothly, too deliberately. "That wasn't Corey," Jenna whispered. "No," I agreed. It wasn't. We stayed in our group, close together, while the afternoon faded into evening. We tried everything we could think of. We tried to start the RVs again. Nothing. We tried walking out in different directions. We always ended up back at camp. We tried climbing trees to see if we could get our bearings. The forest extended in every direction, thick and impenetrable. When it got dark, we built a fire. Not for warmth, but because the alternative was sitting in the darkness, and none of us could handle that. We sat around it, not talking much, listening to the woods. The singing started around 9. All around us, in the trees, that same weird harmony. Jenna started crying. Marcus was praying, even though I'd never heard him mention religion before. Brad just stared into the fire. I thought about that cabin in the gorge. The stick figures. The burned ground. Whatever we'd stumbled into, it had been there for a long time. The locals knew. That woman at the office had tried to warn us, in her way. But we hadn't listened. Around midnight we saw them. People, or things that looked like people, standing at the edge of the firelight. There were dozens of them, forming a circle around our campsite. They were all standing perfectly still, watching us. "Jesus Christ," Brad whispered. One of them stepped forward. It was Corey. Same clothes, same face, same smile. "You should have listened," he said. "They told you not to come, but you came anyway." "Who are you?" I asked. My voice was shaking. "We're the holler," Corey said. "We're what's left. We're what remembers." "Remembers what?" "What was done, what was taken." Another figure stepped into the light. It looked like the woman from the office, but younger. Then another. Someone I didn't recognize. Then another. And another. They all had the same fixed smile. "We can't leave, can we?" Marcus asked quietly. "No," Corey said. "You're part of it now." Jenna broke. She ran, just got up and sprinted into the darkness. We all yelled for her to stop, but she was gone. We heard her footsteps, her breathing, her sobs. Then silence. A minute later, she walked back into the firelight, smiling. "It's okay," she said. "It doesn't hurt." Brad grabbed my arm. "Run." We ran. Marcus, Brad, and me. We ran into the woods, crashing through undergrowth, not caring about direction. Behind us, we heard them following. Not chasing, just walking steadily. The singing started again. I don't know how long we ran. Eventually, we burst into a clearing, and I realized where we were. Miller's Holler. The stone foundations. The chimney. And at the far end, the gorge. "No," Marcus said, and no. We tried to go back, but they were there. All of them. Corey and Jenna and the woman from the office and dozens of others, surrounding us, backing us toward the gorge. "You can join us," Corey said. "It's easier if you join us." "What are you?" Brad demanded. "We're what stays. We're what doesn't leave." They kept walking forward, and we kept backing up, until we were at the edge of the gorge. I looked down. The cabin was there and the door was open. Light spilled out, warm and inviting. "Come down," a voice called from inside. "Come home." I looked at Brad and Marcus. Brad was crying. Marcus looked like he was in shock. "I'm not going down there," I said. "Then you'll stay here," Corey said. "One way or another, you'll stay." That's when Brad did something I'll never understand. He turned and jumped into the gorge. I screamed. Marcus screamed. But Brad didn't hit the bottom. He just stopped, hanging in the air, maybe 20 feet down. Then he started floating upward, not moving, not even breathing. When he reached our level again, he was smiling. "It's okay," he said. "It doesn't hurt." Marcus grabbed my hand. "Madison, I'm sorry." "For what?" "For this." Then he pushed me. I fell backward off the edge. I remember the sensation of falling, the wind, the terror. I remember hitting the water at the bottom of the gorge. It was cold, shockingly cold. I went under, and when I came up, I was alone. The cabin was gone. The gorge was just a gorge, with a creek running through it. I climbed out, scrambling up the muddy bank. When I got to the top, I was on the marked hiking trail, the one we'd taken on Saturday morning. I ran. I didn't look back. I ran until I hit the main road, the real road, with cars passing by. I flagged one down, some family from Texas. They took me to the police station in Devil's Den. I told them everything. They searched the campground. Both RVs were still there, but there was no sign of my coworkers. No sign of the old couple. No sign of the woman from the office. The police checked the records. The RV park was still operating, still taking reservations. But the woman who owned it had died 3 years earlier. They searched Miller's Holler. They found the ruins, the stone foundations. But there was no cabin in the gorge, no stick figures, just forest. They found Corey's car in the parking area, and Brad's and Marcus's and Jenna's. All locked, all empty. They opened them, searched them, but found nothing unusual. Like we'd just parked and walked away. The official report said we probably got lost hiking and the others were still out there somewhere. Search and rescue looked for a week. They found nothing. I went back to Little Rock, back to my life. But things are different now. Sometimes I see them. Corey at the grocery store, Jenna at a coffee shop, Brad walking past my apartment building. They never approach me. They just watch. And they're always smiling. My reflection is wrong too. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, it smiles before I do. Sometimes it doesn't move when I move. My shadow does the same thing, acts independently like it's making its own decisions. I hear the singing at night. Faint, distant, but definitely there. That same strange harmony. And I have this feeling growing stronger every day that I didn't really leave. That part of me is still there in the holler, standing in that circle of figures. Or maybe I'm here and there at the same time. Maybe that's how it works. You go to the holler, and you never really leave. You just split yourself across two places, two realities, and you spend the rest of your life trying to figure out which one is real. Last week I got a letter, no return address. Inside was a brochure for Clearwater Ridge RV Park, and a note in handwriting I didn't recognize. Come home. I threw it away, but I still have the brochure. I keep taking it out, looking at the pictures. The campground looks nice in the photos. Peaceful, safe. Sometimes I think about going back. Just to see. Just to know for sure, but I'm afraid that if I do, I'll start smiling too. And I'll never stop. My name is Madison Lewis. This happened last September in Arkansas. And I don't know if I'm still there or if I ever really left. My name is Abigail Reed. This happened last September at Pangitch Lake in Utah. I'm writing this down because I need someone to know what happened there, even if no one believes me. Marcus and I had been married for 6 years. The last 2 had been rough. We fought about stupid things. Dishes in the sink, whose turn it was to take out the trash, why I was always on my phone. The kind of arguments that start small and somehow become about everything that's wrong with your entire relationship. Our therapist suggested we take a trip together, just the 2 of us. No distractions, no phones if we could help it, just reconnect. Marcus found the RV rental online. He'd never been camping before, not really. I'd gone a few times as a kid with my dad, but nothing recent. The RV seemed like a good compromise. Outdoors, but with a bed and a bathroom. Pangitch Lake was a 3-hour drive from our place in Salt Lake City. The reviews online called it peaceful and remote. That sounded perfect. We left on a Thursday morning in early September. The drive was fine at first. We talked about work, about the new coffee place that opened on our street, about his sister's upcoming wedding. Normal stuff. The kind of conversation that feels good after weeks of barely speaking. The GPS took us off the main highway about an hour into the drive. Marcus noticed it first. "This doesn't seem right," he said, looking at his phone. "What do you mean?" "The route it's giving me. It's taking us on back roads." I checked my phone. Same thing. Maybe there's construction or something. Maybe. The road got narrower. Fewer cars. More trees. The mountains rose up on both sides of us, and the sunlight came through in patches. It was pretty in a way that felt isolating. We stopped for lunch at a gas station in a town called Circleville. Population 547, according to the sign. The woman behind the counter was probably in her 60s, with gray hair pulled back in a bun. "Heading up to the lake?" she asked when Marcus paid for our sandwiches. "Yeah," he said. "First time." She nodded slowly. "It's beautiful up there. Quiet this time of year." "That's what we're hoping for," I said. She looked at me for a long moment. "You be careful. People get lost up there sometimes. The trails aren't always marked clearly. We're just staying at the RV park," Marcus said. "Not doing any serious hiking." "Still," she said, "be careful." We got back in the car and didn't talk about the interaction. But I thought about it. The way she'd looked at me specifically when she said to be careful. Like she was trying to tell me something she couldn't say outright. The RV park was smaller than I expected, maybe 15 spots total, and only 3 of them were occupied when we arrived around 2 in the afternoon. The office was a small wooden building that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 70s. A man in his 50s checked us in. His name tag said, "Dale. You folks here for the weekend?" he asked. "Through Monday," Marcus said. We both took a few days off work. Dale nodded and handed us a map of the campground. "You're in spot 7. It's got hookups for water and electric. Bathrooms over there, and there's a trail down to the lake if you want to do some fishing." "Great," I said. "Are there a lot of people here usually? This time of year?" "No. It's pretty dead after Labor Day. You'll have the place mostly to yourselves." We drove our rented RV to Spot 7. It took Marcus 20 minutes to figure out how to level it and connect everything. I unpacked while he worked, putting our clothes in the tiny closet and our food in the miniature fridge. The RV smelled like cleaning products and something else I couldn't identify. Something stale. By the time we were settled, it was almost 4. The sun was still up, but you could feel how quickly it would disappear behind the mountains. The temperature was already dropping. "Want to walk down to the lake?" Marcus asked. "Sure." We followed the trail Dale had pointed out. It wasn't much of a trail, just a worn path through the trees. The lake appeared after about 10 minutes. It was bigger than I expected, stretching out with mountains reflected in the water. A few boats dotted the surface in the distance. No one else was around. "This is nice," Marcus said. He put his arm around me. "I'm glad we came." "Me too." We stood there for a while, watching the light change on the water. It felt good, quiet, normal, like maybe the trip would work and we'd remember why we liked each other in the first place. We walked back as the sun was setting. The temperature had dropped enough that I wished I'd brought a jacket. Marcus was ahead of me on the trail, and I was watching where I stepped when I saw it. A small clearing to the left of the path, and in the clearing, a grave. I stopped walking. Marcus. He turned around. "What's wrong?" I pointed. He came back and looked where I was pointing. The grave was simple, just a headstone. No flowers or decorations. The grass around it was overgrown. We moved closer. The headstone was granite, weathered, but the engraving was still clear. Abigail Marie Reed, 1992, 2024, my full name, my birth year, and a death date 2 weeks from now. "What the fuck?" Marcus said quietly. I couldn't speak. I just stared at it, at my name, carved into stone. "Is this someone's idea of a joke?" Marcus asked. He looked around like he expected to see someone watching us. "I don't know. It has to be. Someone messing with campers or something. How would they know my name? My full name and birth year?" He didn't have an answer for that. We stood there as it got darker, staring at the grave. Finally, Marcus pulled out his phone and took a picture. "We should tell that guy, Dale. Maybe he knows something about it." We walked back to the office. Dale was locking up. "Hey," Marcus called out. "Sorry, we have a weird question." Dale stopped and turned around. "What's up?" "There's a grave, on the trail down to the lake. Do you know anything about it?" Dale frowned. "A grave?" "Yeah, a headstone. It has my wife's name on it." "Her name?" "Abigail Reed," I said. "My full name, birth year, and a death date." Dale's expression didn't change. "There's no grave on that trail. I've walked it 1,000 times." "We both saw it," Marcus said. He pulled out his phone to show him the picture, but when he opened his camera roll, the photo wasn't there. Just the pictures we'd taken on the drive up. "That's impossible," Marcus said. "I just took it." Dale looked at us like we were crazy, or drunk. "Listen, folks, it's been a long day. Why don't you go back to your site, have some dinner, get some rest? If there's still something bothering you in the morning, come find me." He walked to his truck and drove away. Marcus and I stood in the empty parking lot. "Did we both see that?" I asked. "Yes." "Then where did the photo go?" "I don't know." We walked back to the RV in silence. Neither of us suggested going back to check if the grave was still there. I don't think either of us wanted to know. We made dinner. Pasta with jarred sauce. We didn't talk much. The RV felt smaller than it had that afternoon, the walls closer together. I kept thinking about my name on that stone. The date. September 23rd, 2024. 2 weeks away. After dinner, Marcus tried to watch something on his laptop, but we didn't have internet. I tried to read a book I'd brought, but I couldn't focus. Every time I looked out the window, I expected to see something looking back. But there was nothing, just darkness and the shapes of trees. "We should just go home," I said around 9. Marcus looked up from his laptop. "What?" "I don't like it here. Something's wrong." "Abby, we just got here. We drove 3 hours. We paid for 4 nights. "I know, but that grave was probably a prank. Some kids messing around, or we were both tired from the drive and misread it." "We didn't misread my full name and birth year." "Then I don't know. But running home won't help anything. We need this trip. We need to work on us." He was right, we did need this. And the logical part of my brain knew that a headstone with my name on it didn't mean anything. Couldn't mean anything. But the rest of me wanted to leave immediately. "Let's just see how we feel tomorrow," Marcus said. "If you still want to go home, we'll go home." I agreed, even though I knew I'd want to leave just as badly in the morning. We went to bed around 10. The bed in the RV was cramped, and every time Marcus shifted, I felt it. I lay there in the dark, listening to him breathe, listening to the sounds outside. Wind in the trees. Something that might have been an animal moving through the underbrush. And then around midnight I heard it. Footsteps. Someone was walking around the RV. I held my breath and listened. Slow, deliberate steps. Walking in a circle around us. I reached over and shook Marcus awake. Someone's outside, I whispered. He sat up, groggy. What? Listen. We both listened. The footsteps had stopped. I don't hear anything, he said. They were just there. Someone was walking around the RV. Marcus got up and looked out the windows. I don't see anyone. Maybe it was an animal. It sounded like footsteps, like a person. He looked at me in the dark. I couldn't read his expression. You're freaked out about the grave. I get it. But we're safe here. The door's locked. There are other people around. Not that many. Enough. Try to go back to sleep. He lay back down. Within 10 minutes, he was breathing deeply again, asleep. I stayed awake until the sky started to get light, listening for the footsteps to return. They didn't. In the morning, I felt better. Sunlight has a way of making night terrors seem stupid. We made coffee and breakfast, and Marcus suggested we drive into Panguitch, the nearest town, to walk around and maybe find a place for lunch. Good idea, I said. I could use a change of scenery. We drove into town. It took about 20 minutes. Panguitch was small but nice, with an old main street and a few antique shops. We walked around, looked in windows, didn't buy anything. It felt normal. Good. We had lunch at a diner called Mom's Place. The waitress was friendly, probably in her 20s. She recommended the pie. You folks staying up at the lake? She asked. Yeah, Marcus said. At the RV park. Nice, it's pretty up there. Have you been? I asked. A few times. My ex used to like fishing there. Haven't been in a while, though. Do you know if there are any old graves around there? Like historical markers or something? She frowned. Graves? Not that I know of. Why? We thought we saw something on one of the trails. Just curious about the history. Huh. There might be some old pioneer stuff around, but I've never heard of graves specifically. You could ask at the library. Mrs. Patterson knows everything about local history. We thanked her and finished our meal. I felt silly for bringing it up. Marcus was probably right. We'd misread something, or it was a prank, or we were both more tired than we realized. We got back to the RV park around 3. The office was closed. Hours posted said Dale was only there from 8 a.m. to noon. We went back to our site, and that's when things started to get stranger. Our RV door was open, not just unlocked. Open, swinging slightly in the breeze. Did you close it when we left? Marcus asked. I thought you did. I don't remember. We approached carefully. Marcus went in first. I followed. Everything looked normal. Our stuff was where we'd left it. Nothing missing, nothing disturbed. Maybe we just forgot to latch it properly, Marcus said. Maybe. But I didn't believe it. I remembered watching Marcus lock it. I remembered the click. We spent the afternoon reading and playing cards. Normal couple things, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The way the light came through the window seemed wrong. Too bright, too sharp. And I kept glancing at Marcus, studying his face, looking for something I couldn't name. Around 6, he suggested we go for a walk before dinner. Not on that trail, I said. There's another one. Goes along the north side of the campground. Dale mentioned it. Okay. We found the trailhead easily. It was more maintained than the lake trail, with clear markers every 100 yards. We walked in silence, holding hands. The trees were thick here, and it was darker even though the sun hadn't set yet. After about 15 minutes, Marcus stopped. Did you hear that? Hear what? I thought I heard someone call my name. I listened. Nothing but wind and birds. I don't hear anything. It sounded like it came from over there. He pointed off the trail, into the trees. Let's keep going, I said. It's probably just hikers. But we didn't see anyone. The trail looped back to the campground. We didn't talk about the voice Marcus thought he heard. That night, I made spaghetti and we ate while listening to a podcast on Marcus's phone, draining his battery since we couldn't charge it easily. Normal, domestic. But I kept watching him. The way he chewed, the way he blinked, counting the seconds between blinks. waiting for him to do something that proved he wasn't Marcus anymore. I don't know when I started thinking that, but the thought was there, persistent and terrifying. We went to bed early. I fell asleep this time, exhausted from lack of sleep the night before, but I woke up at 2 a.m. to find Marcus's side of the bed empty. I sat up. Marcus? No answer. The bathroom door was open. He wasn't in there. I got up and checked the rest of the RV. He wasn't inside. I opened the door and looked out. The campground was dark except for a few scattered lights from other RVs. And there, about 30 yards away, I saw him, standing at the edge of the tree line, just standing there, facing the woods. Marcus? I called out. He didn't move. I grabbed a flashlight and walked toward him. As I got closer, I could see he was barefoot. He was just standing there in his t-shirt and boxers, staring into the trees. Marcus, what are you doing? He turned to look at me. In the flashlight beam, his face looked wrong. His pupils were dilated, too big for the light, and he was smiling. Did you hear them? He asked. Hear what? They're calling us. We should go. Go where? He turned back to the trees, into the woods. They're waiting. Marcus, you're scaring me. Let's go back inside. Don't you want to know? He asked. Don't you want to see? I grabbed his arm. His skin was cold. Marcus, please, come back to the RV. He looked at me again. The smile faded. Abby? Yeah, it's me. Let's go back. What am I doing out here? I don't know, you tell me. He looked around, confused. I don't remember coming outside. I was asleep. You were sleepwalking. I don't sleepwalk. Well, you did tonight. We went back inside. Marcus sat on the bed, rubbing his face. I had a dream, he said. There was someone calling my name, a woman. She knew things about me, about us, things I never told anyone. What things? He shook his head. I don't want to talk about it. I sat next to him. This place is getting to both of us. Let's leave tomorrow, first thing. He nodded. Okay, yeah, let's go home. We got back into bed. Marcus fell asleep quickly, but I stayed awake, watching him, making sure he didn't get up again, making sure he kept breathing normally, making sure he was still Marcus. Morning came slowly. I must have dozed off around 5 because I woke up to daylight and the smell of coffee. Marcus was in the kitchenette making breakfast. Hey, he said. How'd you sleep? Not great. You? Fine, I think. I don't really remember anything after we went back to bed. I watched him crack eggs into a pan. Everything about him seemed normal, but I kept thinking about his face last night. That smile, those 2 big pupils. Let's pack up after breakfast, I said. I want to get on the road by 9. Sounds good. We ate quickly and started packing. It didn't take long. We hadn't unpacked much. Marcus went outside to disconnect the water and electrical hookups while I finished inside. I was putting our clothes into a bag when I heard him yell. I ran outside. Marcus was standing by the RV's hookups, staring at something on the ground. What's wrong? He pointed. There, carved into the dirt next to our RV, was a message. Don't leave. The letters were big, crude, maybe done with a stick, but they were clear. Someone did this last night, Marcus said, while we were sleeping. I looked around. The other RVs seemed far away, too far. No one would have seen anything. We're leaving, I said, right now. Agreed. Marcus finished disconnecting everything in record time. We got in the RV and he started the engine, but when he tried to put it in drive, nothing happened. What the hell? He muttered. He tried again. The engine was running, but the transmission wouldn't engage. Is it broken? I don't know. It was fine yesterday. He tried several more times, nothing. The RV wouldn't move. I need to go find Dale, he said. See if he knows anything about RV repairs or has a number for someone who does. I'm coming with you. Abby, someone should stay with our stuff. I'm not staying here alone. He looked at me. Okay, fine. Let's both go. We walked to the office. It was just after 9, so Dale should have been there. but the door was locked, and when we looked through the window, the office was empty. "Maybe he's making rounds," Marcus said. We walked around the campground. Dale's truck wasn't in the parking lot. The other RVs looked empty too. Curtains drawn, no signs of life. "Where is everyone?" I asked. "I don't know." We went back to our site. The RV sat there, useless. Marcus tried the ignition again. Same result. "My phone doesn't have service here," he said. "Does yours?" I checked. "No, we'd have to drive back toward town." "We can't drive anywhere. The RV won't move." We sat there, trying to figure out what to do. It was Marcus who suggested we walk back to that gas station in Circleville. It was only a few miles, he said. We could call a tow truck or find someone to help. "That'll take hours," I said. "You have a better idea?" I didn't. We left the RV unlocked. There was no point in locking it when the door had been opened anyway. We started walking down the access road toward the highway. It was a nice morning, warm but not hot. The sky was clear. Under different circumstances, it would have been pleasant, but I couldn't stop thinking about that message in the dirt. "Don't leave." As if something wanted us to stay. We'd been walking maybe 20 minutes when I realized something was wrong. "Marcus, we should have reached the highway by now." He looked around. "Yeah, this is taking longer than I thought." "How long did it take to drive up here yesterday?" 5 minutes, maybe 10. We've been walking for half an hour." We kept walking. The road stretched ahead of us, winding through the trees. No buildings, no cars, just trees and mountains and that endless road. After an hour, we stopped. "This isn't right," Marcus said. "We should have reached something by now." "Are we going the right direction?" "Yes, I think so. There's only one road." We turned around and started walking back toward the campground. That took another hour, and when we finally saw the entrance to the RV park, my stomach dropped. It was exactly noon. We'd left at 9:30. We'd been walking for 2.5 hours and ended up right back where we started. "What the fuck?" Marcus said quietly. We went back to our RV. Everything was exactly as we'd left it. "Let me try to start it again," Marcus said. He got in and turned the key. The engine roared to life, and when he put it in drive, it moved. "It's working," he said. "I don't understand. It wouldn't move before." "Let's just go. Now." He didn't argue. We got on the road and headed toward the exit. The road unwound in front of us, familiar now. Trees on both sides, mountains in the distance. And then after 10 minutes of driving, we saw the entrance to the RV park again. Marcus hit the brakes. We both stared at it. "That's impossible," he said. "We were driving away from it. Try again." He turned the RV around and we drove in the opposite direction. Same result. After 10 minutes, we were back at the entrance. We tried 4 more times. Different speeds, different routes where the road forked. It didn't matter. Every attempt brought us back to the same place. Finally, Marcus pulled the RV over to the side of the road and turned off the engine. "We're stuck," he said. "Something is keeping us here." I wanted to argue with him to say that was impossible, but I couldn't. We both knew it was true. "What do we do?" I asked. "I don't know." We sat there for a long time. The sun moved across the sky. Neither of us said anything. What was there to say? Eventually, Marcus started the RV again and drove us back to our spot. We sat inside, doors locked, as the sun set. "Maybe someone will come," I said. "Another camper, or Dale." Maybe, but I didn't believe it, and neither did he. We ate dinner. Canned soup, crackers, food that would last a few days if we rationed it. Neither of us wanted to talk about what would happen when we ran out. Night fell. We didn't turn on many lights, trying to conserve the RV's battery. We sat in near darkness, listening to the sounds outside. Around 10, Marcus's head snapped up. "Did you hear that?" "What?" "Footsteps. Outside." I listened, and yes, there they were. The same slow, deliberate footsteps I'd heard the first night, walking in a circle around the RV. We sat frozen, listening. The steps went around once, twice, 3 times, and then they stopped. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps on the door. Neither of us moved. 3 more knocks. Harder this time. "Marcus?" A voice called from outside, a woman's voice. "Marcus, I need to talk to you." Marcus went pale. "That's my mom," he whispered. "What?" "That's my mom's voice." "Marcus, your mom died 3 years ago." "I know, but that's her voice." 3 more knocks. "Marcus, please open the door. I need to talk to you about what you did." Marcus stood up. "Don't," I said, grabbing his arm. "I need to see." "That's not your mother. Your mother is dead." "Marcus," the voice said again. "I know what you did to your father. I know what you never told anyone." Marcus's face went white. He sat back down. "What is she talking about?" I asked. He shook his head. "Nothing. That's not her." The knocking continued for another 10 minutes. Then it stopped. The footsteps resumed, circling the RV, and gradually faded away. We sat in silence. Marcus was shaking. "What was she talking about?" I asked again. "Nothing. Marcus, I don't want to talk about it." He went to the bedroom and closed the door. I sat in the main area, listening to him cry through the thin wall. I thought about his father. He'd died when Marcus was 16. Heart attack, or so everyone said. I'd never questioned it, never had reason to. But now, I pushed the thought away. Whatever that thing was outside, it was just trying to fuck with us, to scare us. It didn't mean anything. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I must have fallen asleep in the chair because I woke up to gray dawn light and Marcus's side of the bed empty again. I got up and looked outside. He was there at the tree line in the same spot as before, just standing and staring. I went outside. The morning was cold and my breath fogged in front of me. "Marcus?" He didn't turn around. "Marcus, come back inside." "I can hear her," he said. "She's calling me." "That's not your mother." "I know, but she sounds just like her." He turned to look at me. His pupils were huge again. "Did I do something bad, Abby? Something I don't remember?" "You didn't do anything. That thing is just messing with you. It knows things I never told anyone." "What things?" He looked back at the trees. "My father, he didn't have a heart attack. I waited. I killed him," Marcus said quietly. "I was 16. He was drunk. He was always drunk. And he was going to hit my mom again. So I pushed him down the stairs. I told the paramedics he fell. Everyone believed me, even my mom. Especially my mom. Marcus, I've never told anyone. Not the police, not my mom, not you. But that thing out there knows." "How does it know?" I didn't have an answer. "We should go inside," I said. "Why? What's the point? We can't leave. We're going to die here." "We're not going to die." "You saw the grave. Your name. The date. That's in 12 days. That doesn't mean anything." "How do you know?" "Because I had to believe it didn't. Because if that date was real, if it was set in stone, literally, then we were already dead and just didn't know it yet." I took Marcus's hand. "Let's go inside, please." He followed me back to the RV. We sat at the small table and I made coffee. Marcus stared at his cup. "I'm sorry," and he said, "and I should have told you about my dad." "It's okay." "It's not. I'm a murderer. You were protecting your mother. That's different." "I don't think it is." We sat in silence. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was processing what he'd told me. My husband had killed his father and kept it secret for 18 years. But the bigger part of me was trying to figure out how to get us out of here. "We need to try something different," I said. "The road doesn't work." "But what about hiking out? Cross-country through the woods?" "That could take days, and we don't have enough food or water. We have to try something." He nodded slowly. "Okay, let's pack light. Just water and whatever food we can carry. We'll head south. Eventually, we'll hit civilization." We spent the morning preparing. We filled water bottles, packed granola bars and crackers. I found a compass in one of the RV's drawers and a paper map that showed the general area. If we headed south, we should hit a highway within 15 or 20 miles. We left around noon. The sun was high and warm. We walked into the woods, using the compass to keep us going south. The forest was thick but not impassable. We walked for hours, keeping a steady pace. Everything seemed normal, just trees and rocks and the occasional bird. But after 6 hours, when we should have walked at least 12 miles, we emerged from the trees back at the campground. We both stood there staring at the RV. "No," Marcus said. "No, that's not possible." We walked in a straight line. I checked the compass. It still pointed north where it should. We'd been going south. There was no way we should have ended up back here. We tried again the next day, this time heading west. Same result. And the day after that, heading east. Every time, after hours of walking, we ended up right back where we started. On the 4th day, we stopped trying. We sat in the RV and rationed our remaining food. A few granola bars, half a sleeve of crackers, 2 bottles of water. "We're going to die here," Marcus said. It wasn't a question anymore. "Maybe someone will come." "No one's coming." He was probably right, but I didn't want to admit it. That night, Marcus disappeared. I woke up around 3 and he was gone. Again, I grabbed the flashlight and went outside. He wasn't at the tree line this time. "Marcus?" I called. No answer. I walked around the campground, checking the other RVs. All empty. The office was still locked and dark. No signs of Dale or anyone else. "Marcus!" I shouted louder. Nothing. I walked down the trail toward the lake. My flashlight cut through the darkness, showing the path ahead. And there in the clearing was the grave. But Marcus wasn't there. I walked closer to the headstone. The dates hadn't changed. My name, September 23rd, 2024. 4 days from now. I walked down to the lake. The water was black and still, reflecting nothing. "Marcus!" I screamed. My voice echoed across the water and died. I went back to the RV and waited. Dawn came. Marcus didn't. I spent the day searching. I walked every trail I could find. I checked every empty RV. I screamed his name until my throat was raw. Nothing. By the time the sun set, I had to accept it. Marcus was gone. I sat in the RV, alone, as darkness fell. I didn't turn on any lights, I just sat there in the dark, listening. Around midnight, I heard the footsteps again, circling the RV, and then the knock. "Abby?" Marcus's voice. "Abby, please let me in." I went to the door but didn't open it. "Marcus?" "Yes, it's me. Please open the door." "Where have you been?" "I don't know. I woke up in the woods. I'm cold. Please let me in." I wanted to believe it was him. I wanted to open that door so badly. "Tell me something only Marcus would know," I said. Silence. Then, "I killed my father. You're the only person I told." It was him. It had to be. I unlocked the door. Marcus stood there in the same clothes he'd been wearing. But something was wrong. His face was the same. His voice was the same. But his eyes were different, too bright, too focused. "Thank you," he said, stepping inside. I locked the door behind him. He sat at the table. "Where were you?" I asked. "I don't remember. I was sleeping, and then I was in the woods, and it was dark, and I couldn't find my way back." "You've been gone for an entire day." It didn't feel that long. I studied him, the way he held his hands, the way he sat. Everything was almost right, but not quite. "Are you okay?" I asked. "I'm tired. Can we go to bed?" "Sure." We went to the bedroom. Marcus lay down and closed his eyes. Within seconds, he was breathing deeply, asleep. I lay next to him, not sleeping, watching him, counting his breaths, waiting for him to do something that proved he wasn't Marcus. His eyes opened. He was staring at the ceiling. "I know you're awake," he said. "I can't sleep." "You should sleep. We need our energy." "For what?" "For when it happens." "When what happens?" He turned his head to look at me. In the darkness, his eyes reflected the moonlight coming through the window, like an animal's eyes. "You know what happens," he said. "You saw the date. That doesn't mean anything. It means everything. It already happened. We just haven't caught up to it yet. You're not making sense." "I'm making perfect sense. You died on September 23rd, 2024. That's 4 days from now, and I'll be there when it happens." I sat up. "Who are you?" "I'm Marcus, your husband. The man you married 6 years ago. The man who killed his father and never told anyone. I'm all of those things." "No, you're not him." "How do you know? How can you be sure?" I couldn't answer, because he was right. How could I know? He looked like Marcus. Sounded like Marcus. Knew things only Marcus would know, but he wasn't Marcus. I knew it in my bones. I got out of bed and went to the main area. Not Marcus followed me. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Away from you." "There's nowhere to go, you know that by now." He was right, we were trapped. There was no road out, no hiking out, no escape. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want you to accept it. Stop fighting. It's easier that way." "Accept what?" "That you're already dead. You died the moment you saw that grave. Everything since then has just been delay." "That's not true. Isn't it? Think about it. We've been here for days and no one has come. The food doesn't run out as fast as it should. Time moves strangely. You've noticed." I had noticed. The sun seemed to set at different times each day. Hours passed in what felt like minutes, or minutes stretched into hours. I'd stopped being able to keep track. "This isn't real," I said. "This is the only thing that's real. Everything before was the dream." He moved closer to me. I backed away until I hit the wall. "What are you?" I asked. "I'm the truth you don't want to see. I'm what happens when you drive to remote places with graves bearing your name and decide to stay anyway. I'm the end you've been running from." He reached out and touched my face. His hand was cold. "4 more days," he said, "and then you'll understand." I pushed past him and ran outside. The campground was dark except for the moon. I ran toward the trail to the lake, the flashlight beam bouncing ahead of me. Behind me I heard not Marcus following. Not running, just walking, steady and patient. I reached the clearing with the grave. In the moonlight, the headstone seemed to glow. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Not Marcus stood at the edge of the clearing, but there was someone else too. A woman. She looked like me. Same height, same hair, same face, but her expression was empty. "This is what you'll become," Not Marcus said. "When the date comes, you'll join us here." "I won't." "You don't have a choice." The woman who looked like me smiled. It wasn't a comforting smile. I ran past them, back toward the RV. I got inside and locked the door. I pushed the table against it, pushed a chair on top of that. Then I sat on the bed and waited. Nothing happened. No knocking, no footsteps. Just silence. I stayed awake all night. When the sun came up, I looked outside. The campground was empty. No Not Marcus. No woman who looked like me. I checked the calendar on my phone. September 22nd. 1 day left. I spent that day in the RV. I didn't eat, didn't drink. Just waited. The sun moved across the sky. Afternoon came. Evening. Night. September 23rd arrived at midnight. I sat in the dark, watching the clock on my phone tick past 12. 0. And then 12. 01. 12. 02. Nothing happened. An hour passed. 2 hours. I was still alive. Still breathing. Still here. Maybe it was wrong. Maybe the date didn't mean anything. Maybe I'd been driving myself crazy over nothing. At 3 in the morning, I heard the knock. This time, I didn't ask who it was. I didn't hesitate. I opened the door. Marcus stood there. The real Marcus. I could see it in his eyes. "Abby," he said, "I need help." What's wrong? Something's wrong with me. I can feel it. I'm forgetting things. Forgetting us. Come inside. He shook his head. I can't. If I come inside, I won't be me anymore. It'll take over completely. What will? Whatever's here, in this place. It got inside me when I went into the woods. I can feel it eating away at who I am. Soon there won't be anything left. We'll fight it. Together. You can't fight it. No one can. That's why we're trapped here. This place doesn't let go. He reached out and took my hand. I love you. I need you to remember that. Even if I stop being me, even if I do things, remember that I loved you. Marcus, I'm sorry. About all of it. About my father. About bringing you here. About not being strong enough to protect you from this. You did your best. It wasn't enough. He let go of my hand and stepped back. Run, he said. Run as far as you can. Maybe if you keep trying, you'll find a way out. I won't leave you. I'm already gone. This is just what's left. He turned and walked into the darkness. I tried to follow, but he was too fast. Within seconds, I couldn't see him anymore. I went back inside the RV and locked the door. That was hours ago. It's dawn now. September 23rd, the date on my grave. I'm writing this down in case someone finds it. In case someone else comes to this campground and sees our RV still sitting here. Don't stay. Don't try to figure out what happened, just leave. There's something wrong with this place. It keeps you here. It makes you think you can't leave even though you could probably walk out if you tried hard enough. It gets inside your head, makes you doubt reality, makes you see things that aren't there. Or maybe they are there and that's worse. Marcus is gone. Or he's still here but he's not Marcus anymore. I don't know which is worse. I should try to leave again, but I'm so tired. And what's the point? Every time I try, I end up back here. The road loops. The forest circles back on itself. This place doesn't want to let me go. Maybe the grave was right. Maybe I did die here on September 23rd, 2024. Maybe I'm already dead and just don't know it yet. Or maybe I'm still alive and I'm just giving up. I can hear footsteps outside circling the RV again, slow and patient. They've been circling for an hour now. Sometimes they sound like one person. Sometimes like several. The knocking will start soon. And this time I don't know if I'll have the strength not to open the door. If you find this, tell my mother I'm sorry. Tell her I loved her. Tell her I tried to come home. Tell Marcus's mother her son didn't kill his father. Or if he did, he was protecting her. Tell her he died trying to protect me. The knocking has started. Someone's calling my name. It sounds like my mother's voice now. I should open the door. She sounds worried. She sounds real. I'm going to open the door. I'm sorry. The journal ends here. The handwriting in the last few lines becomes increasingly erratic.